Greetings and welcome to the 19th episode of Retro Rant. And this is going to be an Amstrad CPC review of a quite recent game, Orion Prime, developed by Arcos and Le Sucres and Morceaux, and published by Cargosoft in 2009. This is an impressive point-and-click adventure game, which is a genre that the good old CPC regrettably lacked, while the C64 got some fine Lucasfilm action. I can recall only playing some text adventures, one of them was a type-in, from back in the day, but nothing of the point-and-click variety. And with a good reason, since these 8-bit machines rarely use the mouse, so you had to control the pointer with the cursors, which made for some very clunky gaming experience. So let's see how this one fares. Okay, I believe this is the most jaw-dropping intro sequence I have ever seen on an Amstrad CPC. 5 awesome minutes. It is nothing like you would expect, and it sets the mood for what will follow. Orion Prime takes place 500 years in the future, where you take on the role of a space trader, much like in Elite, but one mostly dealing with a rare substance which is only available from one solar system, kind of like the spice from Frank Herbert's Dune. Reaching this system requires you to travel through an unsafe route, which few pilots dare to do. But you have traveled through this route 156 times already, so you can do it now blindfolded while practicing a harpsichord on one leg. But a safe journey would make for a very uninteresting game, so a convenient miscalculation in your navigation system sends you through an asteroid field, which is not a very healthy place to be. The asteroids damage your ship, so you wisely use your escape shuttle. After a few days without fuel and navigation systems and football magazines, your radar finally picks up a space vessel, which will be your salvation. Or will it? Because it doesn't answer your distress signal. So maybe the communications officer has gone to the toilet, or there is something fishy happening. Anyway, you decide to dock on the vessel and investigate. The graphics of Orion Prime are outstanding. Unfortunately, I have sold my CPCs, so I have to make do with an emulator, but I bet they look even better on the actual machine. The use of color and shading is very nice, even if it makes for some dark spots sometimes, but maybe it's the emulation. The overall atmosphere is great, and the visuals invite you to explore the world of Orion Prime even further. Even better than the graphics is the music, which is the second best I have ever heard on the system, overshadowed only by the brilliant Pinball Dreams port 10 years later. The negative thing is that it can get repetitive and a bit intrusive after a while. Another impressive feature is that the music gets ominous when there is threat present, so this adds even more to the overall atmosphere while keeping you on your toes. The control system works reasonably well, even though it is not mouse-driven. You just click on the hotspot and icons with the possible actions appear. You also have a handy personal computer, which is very useful in Orion Prime, since there is a lot of information around which is absolutely necessary for you to succeed in your mission. The game world is actually quite big, and the descriptions are very well written, with a bit of dark humor sometimes, so the actual exploration experience is very enjoyable and immersive. The overall atmosphere is second to none on the CPC, and you constantly feel threatened that there is something lurking out there, even when you are in relatively safe locations. And the story is a bit cliché, but it is very effective in this game. The puzzles of Orion Prime are fine, and they require the player to be quite attentive of what is happening, taking notes and checking facts with the various clues that you discover. You should also draw a map, since after a while the game opens up quite a bit, and it is a bit hard sometimes to remember the locations. Unfortunately, even though the manual claims otherwise, there is a bit of pixel hunting, and that is inexcusable for a 2009 game, and even more so for one that isn't mouse controlled. So, after all this, you would be assuming that the game will get an excellent rating, 9 or more, right? Well, it would get such a rating, if not for the numerous pointless mini-games throughout. These include some fairly innocuous left and right waggling combat scenes, some quite annoying but doable by fluke hacking and repair puzzle games, and the utterly hateful fuel pump. This plays like the Rainbow Arts game Logical, if you know that one, but with a fairly cruel time limit, especially for the last few levels. Apart from the combat minigame, all the others are obligatory if you want to progress, and they are not skippable. The developers tried to spice the gameplay up with these minigames, but they actually managed to ruin Orion Prime for me. You have this fantastic piece of software with this degree of immersion, and you mess it up when you ask the player every now and then to engage in a crappy minigame. And we all know how adventure gamers like minigames, especially poorly implemented mandatory ones, to interfere with their puzzle solving. At least give the player the option to skip this stuff. It couldn't get much worse, maybe if the developers added some sliding pictures. So Orion Prime made me feel awe in the beginning, which gave way to anger and frustration for the disruptive minigames, and finally sadness because of the missed opportunity that this game is. Overall, would I recommend Orion Prime? Yes, give it a shot as a tech demo, so as to be amazed at what the CPC can actually do in the right hands. Try it out as a game as well, if you like your point and clicking filled up with minigames. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time!